Good day to all. Good day to all. This is Nurturing of Our Humanity. This is another one of those Wednesday live thingamajiggums. Let's get to it. The inspiration for different conversations comes from lots of places, but really it's about lived experience. So, what I want to do is I want to make sure. Hold on a second. I just want to make sure that I have good perspective on what I'm about to speak on right now. I want to make this pretty short and sweet. I believe this is going to be like video 95 in my live category. And this is also first video from my 4K webcam and all that. So I'm going to be looking at the quality of the picture, audio, trying to see how things are coming together as far as on this channel. All right. So the title of this one, the title of this video, the grenade is contrast. Okay. So what I want to speak to, I think a lot of this will stem from hoarding and the OCD-ness of that. But OCD shows up in more ways than just hoarding, but that is definitely I would say the dominant signal that seems to come from that type of behavior. It's an obsessive compulsive situation. So I was speaking and I was talking about that the only way to really bring truth to this is to bring contrast. So you have to like, if you're already being covered by this, hopefully you're fighting out with the truth and trying to have clarity and bring clarity or separation or whatever you're trying to do. But the first thing one must do is identify the hoard. Let me tell you what I have here for hoarding. A hoarder is someone who collects large amounts of items and finds it difficult to part with them, which can range from general term for a collector to a clinical diagnosis of hoarding disorder, a mental condition. Hoarder disorder, characterized by persistent difficulties in discharging possessions as a strong need to save items and clutter that disrupts living spaces, causing significant distress and functional problems. I'm sure a lot of people can identify with pieces of this, or pieces of that. I'm not here to make fun of it. I'm just here to say that the defense mechanism against it, or the person who's protecting their hoard, is usually quite I would say, a confident arguer, to say the least. They fight tooth and nail for something that is completely wrong, and they literally know it's wrong, but they still fight tooth and nail for it. So arguing with logic is not going to be effective there. Okay, so you must realize the op. Now, what I mean by the op is this is where the title of this video comes in. The grenade is contrast. The opposition, the opposite of what this situation is. That's what's going to bring contrast. So a black dot on a white wall, great contrast. You can see it from a long ways away. You can have that same black dot on a black wall and you won't see the dot. The dot is still there, but you can't identify it because there's low contrast value, if any. Basically, camouflage. This is a codependent situation. People living in false realities in their mind, they have to attach it to real things, usually with complete misery and negativity, but they have to connect to something real to gravitize or make their make-believe feel real, feel like it has some grit or some teeth. This is something that's codependent. It needs your participation. When you refuse to participate in it or see it the way they see it or accept it or give it a pass, that starts to create the contrast, as you should. Next thing is ask yourself, are we done? Are we finished? Like, in other words, before you place the grenade in there, before you start pushing off with the contrast, identify that this is your enemy. This is the problem. This is what you're up against. Be able to identify that. Then you must become your truth and trust that process. So now this is where you start to implement the contrast. This is where you start understanding that the opposite of waste is like cleanliness. Disorder is organization. So you start presenting the contrast, and it'll naturally upset and disrupt and annoy and aggravate the correct people. It will get right to where it's supposed to go to. You have to trust that process. All the right people will always be offended. Like, if you're in, but the problem is if you're doing something trying to please somebody and it offends somebody, you feel cheated because you weren't really doing you and you still ended up it not working out. The whole thing is to make sure that you're being true to yourself so you can live with the process. Hopefully your clarity, your growth, your calm is worth the loss of some people's acceptance or even them as a total whole. And another thing is, don't waste your time explaining. I've done this in many videos, but explaining is a lower vibration. When somebody asks a constructed well question and you answer it, that's a beautiful thing, to fill in the gaps, to put mortar in between somebody's bricks so they're whole, so they're solid. That is a beautiful thing to do. But just to offer it up, that level of explanation is no good. It's no good. And I mean, none. Next is, I wanted to go through just want to do this quick just to make sure it's in this same video. So this information is in here as well. There's 5 levels, 5 stages of hoarding. Okay. Minimal, mild level, moderate, severe, and extreme. So let me go through quickly what they are. So the minimal clutter is within a normal range and all the areas of the home are accessible. Household functions remain intact and there's no safety hazards. That's minimal clutter. This is still clutter. Okay. It's still confusing things. Mild clutter. Noticeable clutter begins to accumulate, and there's an increasingly difficult discarding of items. Okay, it's getting harder for people to get rid of items. Guests may be avoided due to the mess, and there might be a slight increase in stress. Guests might be avoided due to the mess. I've seen people at this phase, or definitely at that phase or beyond. So definitely pass. I guess I start recognizing it around level 2. I think it becomes a real issue. Stage 3, moderate hoarding. Clutter is significant, enough to make some areas of the house unusable. Hygiene and sanitation issues begin to occur, along with fire and tripping hazards. I've seen that. Stage 4, severe clutter, makes daily activities difficult. Health and safety risks are common, and there is noticeable decline in personal care. Social isolation increases as the person may feel embarrassed. That's nice to say. And stage 5 is the stuff that you see on TV. These are the shows called hoarding and stuff like that. Extreme hoarding. The home is nearly or entirely inhabitable. There are major health and safety risks, including structural damage, extreme pest or mold infestations, and potentially utility issues. Interventions from authorities or social services may be necessary. Okay, that's stage 5. So that's when they actually weaponize it and put it on TV and allow people to, trip off of it as a show and stuff like that. But um, to get back to it, the core of this video was you're in the depths of it and it's all against you and everything is I guess you say against you in that way. The clarity or the grenade or what blows it up or exposes it or starts the process of healing or growth or whatever it is, or separation, or the clarity to get away, is the grenade. That is the contrast you put in there. So you get right into the middle of it and you plant your grenade and you start doing beautiful things right in the middle of this. And they will instantly feel the opposition to that immediately, because the universe and nature, they just respect actions. That's all that matters. So the way you act, what you accept, it's everything. Okay, so that's my Wednesday rant or my Wednesday live. That's video 95, I believe, on my path to 100 for the new year. So tomorrow is Thanksgiving, Turkey Day, the Gluttony Bowl, the hoard out of food. I think I'm going to try to participate mildly, if at all. I just don't get stuffing myself anymore. I'm actually getting pretty disgusted with the feeling of that at times. I'm trying not to have it to the point of an eating disorder or anything like that, but I definitely need to go about food and how I deal with it and interact with it differently, better. All right, with that, this is my Wednesday live, Nurturing of Our Humanity. And I am going to see y'all next Wednesday, which should be video 96. We'll see what the topic is about. Probably have something to do with this Thanksgiving stuff and communication. That's just where I'm thinking it'll be leaning, but we'll see. But until then, everybody enjoy the holiday if that's what you celebrate and how you celebrate, but enjoy every day. It's all a blessing. With that, I'm out of here.